I'm gonna go to my semester test review, and here's all the data you need. So you right click and you save the link. And what I did is I made a semester test folder. You just click new folder up here, make a semester test. You can put it all in there, or you can go piece by piece. I'm just gonna throw all mine in there because it seems like the thing to do. So I saved link, I got all my Minute School stuff. The Raven, I got that one already. Oh, data for project right here. If you save link, it saves as monthly expenses. That's gonna be a spreadsheet. See, that spreadsheet will be there for you. I already got that. And then project 4 was also a spreadsheet called Humperdinck. And project 5 is the Access database, and that's the one I'm gonna start with right now. Is what I'm gonna do a little bit about Access. I'm not gonna open up that stuff because that's the test. We're gonna start out with Access. We're gonna start at the bottom and work our way up. You need to know how to do queries, reports, relationship, make a new table.
Those are easy.
That's what you have to do for database. So let's say I'm gonna just go to Access, and you will already have an Access database. You will not have to create one, but I'm just going to create one, a blank one. And with Access, like I said, you want to be able to create it and know where it goes. I don't know where I'm going to put this one because it's not going to be worth a squat. I'll just put it in Documents in period 2. And I'm going to call this Test Example. All right, so I got a brand new database. You will already have one with a table. And to make a table, you want to be in the design view, not this view. So I'm going to call this first table in my exam. So you'll have a table that's already been created, and it probably could have a customer ID, and that ID is always going to be a short text. A customer ID, would it have a primary key on it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, because every customer would have a unique ID. So let's say that you have their name, and you have their address, and their state, and so forth, and zip, okay? And this is the customer. I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna close out of it, and I'm gonna rename it just so it makes more sense. Customers data. So that's your customers data. Now let's say we have a sales representative for all these customers. You're going to have to create a new table, and this new table you can go design, and that goes right to the design view. Or if you do it this way, you're going to have to change it to the design view. And let's say this is your customer representative. He is the guy, and under the customer data, I'm going to add one field. I'll put the representative, and he's also a short text. So everybody has a representative. Each customer has a representative. The customer representative, and he's going to be short text. Well, we'll just put it like that. Who cares? The thing you're going to have to do though is here's his name, here's his information, and when you have two tables like that, I save that and I close out of that. You're going to have to be able to do reports off of these. So you're going to have to make a relationship. You will make a relationship, and you want to enforce the integrity. And when you create it, you'll have one representative for every customer like that. And now you can make reports using both tables. Once you get that relationship created, then we can make a report. When you create a query, just go to the design. When you do a report, you do the report wizard. And when you're doing the report wizard, you can pick stuff from either of the categories, customer data or the other one. Remember, when you're doing a query, you can double click on these, or you can drag them down here. The criteria, we don't have any data in these, but let's say we did customer rep and his name, and we did this and this. Anyway, you're doing your query right here. And if you put them on the same line, it's an and situation. Customer representative is 21. It'll pull that one up. Do you get the difference between and or? You don't have to know that for the test. But if you want to be a database expert someday, you always, when you're making something, a new table, you want to go to the layout view. You want to be in the design view to make a table. Spreadsheets, I'm just going to give you an example. And you guys know how to rearrange columns and all that kind of stuff. If I want to move one out like that, and the next ones I want to make shorter, maybe a little, I can do all of them at once by highlighting in the green area. 412, what's the sequence would be like that. Pretty cool, huh? And let's say this was a grade thing, G1, and I had grades. I could do the G1 and I can go over here and I've got 7 grades and make it better if I align them to the right. You're gonna need to be able to do totals, average, max and minimum, okay? Call both directions. And remember, when you're doing this, it equals sum, tab, and when you do a tab, you just highlight over to there, of course. Now, if you want the average, you just start, and you don't include the totals. Minimum or maximum equals max, tab, and hit that tab key to get that parenthesis in there. Enter. And finally equal min. So you do all of them the same way. Drag and you got the minimum. Then when you have those totals and stuff, you can drag them down and you have all of them. The average, okay, let's do the average again. I'll wipe out the averages. So do the average, you put equal AVER, and you see in the blue, it turned to average, then you hit the tab key. So when you put the tab key in, it puts the brackets in there. And when you're doing the average, you just drag 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, no total in the average. Don't include the total. Then just hit enter. And then you go up to the top and you just drag down to get the rest of them. And the maximum is equal max. And the minimum is equal min. And the total is equal sum. But if you just have the number 4 in here and 7, you might as well take a class again next year. Just do these over again one more time. This is important. One's equal sum, tab, 1 to 7, then equal AVER, then you'd see the word average, you hit average, 1 to 7, max is equal max, tab, 1 to 7, equal min, tab, 1 to 7. And then I highlight all of them, go to the bottom right hand corner, I drag it down and then I have them all. Is if I'm going to do a series, you don't ever include the totals. So if you have totals down the bottom, and let's say I wanted to do a line graph, I would insert and a line graph, and the data is kind of weird data. If I want to switch rows and column around, you just do this. I can put a primary horizontal and I could put a primary vertical. I put axes in the side. I can move my legend to the right. The legend's on the right now. And that's basically, and then I can change my chart title. If I want to put in a text box, I insert a text box here and say something. Hey, look. Hey, look. And then I want to draw an arrow. To do the arrow, I go to Format to get the arrow. And Format, and I can draw an arrow, and I want to look at that one right there. I want to change the weight of that. It's under the outline, the weight. I'd make it thicker if I wanted to put an arrow in there. And if I wanted to put stuff around this, I want to narrow up the box, and then I can do all kinds of shape outline. I could color it. I could do special effects. I could shadow or make it glow. I could make the box glow. Hey, look. And if I want to do stuff with the text, then I go over here. If I wanted that to glow, ooh, look at that. Now the text is glowing too. This is for the shape. The shape is the outside thing, and the inside is the text. And that's with PowerPoint anything. This is for the text. This is for the box around the outside. So the chart title, I double click on it. I can exit out of here. I can do the format, and it's under the format tab where you do all this. So if I want to change the box, I can change it like that. If I want to change the text and make it glow, I could do that, and then I'd have strange chart title. If I want to make a circle graph, a pie graph, or if I want to just pick certain students and I don't want all the students, you use the highlight and then control highlight. So if I do this and I want the totals in here, I'm going to do a pie graph, you highlight and then control highlight. I only want Lewis and Jerry, highlight and control highlight. I want their grades, I would highlight and control highlight. And I just want those two students, I would just do this. Pie graph, I would highlight, control highlight, and then you'd pick the totals. Then you'd include the title, this way or this way. So let's just say I do a straight one. And everything is over here again. If I want the legend on the right, I put the legend on the right. If I want to do chart titles, if I want data labels, I can do a call out, I can do best fit. Inside, I got all these different options. If I want to pull out this blue piece, you take the blue piece, you click once and all of them are highlighted, you click the second time and I can pull out blue. First to highlight everything, second time to just highlight the blue piece. This is the only one highlighted, it just changes the data label on the one. Highlight and control highlight is very, very important. All right, last thing is Word. Everything in this test is single spaced. To single space is very important. Paragraph flyout, 0, 0, single space. You have to have these both zeros, single space. If I want a double space, I'd hide Control A to get the whole thing. I would go to paragraph flyout. I'd leave these at 0. If you want true double space, these both have to be 0 and you'd go to double space. What I'm going to do is tab sets now. But let's just do the tab set. Tab set is also under paragraph. Paragraph tabs, and let's say I want a tab at 1 inch, 3 inch, and 6 inch. So 1 inch, and I don't want dots on that when I set it. I want 3 inches, and that one I want left, and I want dots on the second one, and I set it. So see, I got a 1 and a 3, and it shows me the 2 that I did. And the last one I'm going to do with 6, I'm going to do a right tab with dots also. And I say OK. So I want to do tab, tab, and tab, and tab, and tab. And that one's a right justified tab. And I've got tab, tab, and tab. And then if I want to put a box around that, you have to highlight them to get a box around them. And I pick any borders and shading that I want. And I just put a border on this. Let's say I want a triple line and I want it all the way around, and I say okay. So I have the border, right? And to move this border, it's that bottom square right here that you move this side in. See that? You move it on the bottom square. The middle one's a hanging indent, and then this outside one, we move it in this way. You see that? You go from these two squares, but it has to be highlighted to move those in. So that's how you do tab sets. Now, if I want to put a heading up here, there's 2 types of headings we can put in here. Heading number 1 is with WordArt. Insert. And I go to WordArt right here, and I'm going to pick that one because I like it. And when I do this, I should click here, and I should do in line with text. Bam. Now it's in line, so it pushes the text down. So make sure you do it in line, and I can make it. And then when I make it bigger, the text goes down. If you don't put it in line with text, it'll just go over the top of the text. And then let's say I want to slant this. So you double click on it. Right here, text effects. It's the third one down, top, middle, bottom. You click on that, you go to transform, and you make it go upward. Make it go upward. The only reason I'm making it go upward, I love computer science. Not. Then I'm going to put a border under it. You do not highlight something to put a border under it. You just put it at the rear end of it, and you go to the, right by the paint bucket, is down, borders and shading, and you pick a border. Let's pick one. How about triple lines? And you take off everything but the bottom. You just keep clicking, and it puts the border under there. If you're going to do columns. Let's say I wanted 3 columns here. You highlight it. If you highlight it, it puts those breaks in there for you. Because this one we want, or 2 columns, this one we don't. You got that? Very important. And page layout is where you find columns. And if I want 3 of them, I don't pick 3 of them. You always go to more columns, and then you got a choice to put a line between them or not. So now I've got the line, and see, it does just those 3, and it makes them nice and pretty close to each other. If I bring a picture in here now, and I want to put it right up here, I'm going to insert a couple pictures. I'll do a picture, see what we got. Who do we want here? We'll put Emma. So we got Emma right here, and if I want Emma in this text right here, I want to square Emma. So Emma is squared now. I can put her anywhere in here, right? But if I want her up here, I don't want, that's terrible. You can't get her up there. So that's the way you put the picture in there. But now let's bring in somebody else now. If I insert another picture and I pick, should we pick Georgie Girl? So we got Georgie Girl. Okay, I'm gonna double click on her and I'm gonna put her in front of the text. So I need her in front of the text before I can drag her up into, Georgie Girl can go in there now. This one is squared. This one is in front of the text where she doesn't matter where she goes. Title in here. Let's say I'm at the top of the page. Never put your title in the header. If you put it up in the header, it goes on every page. Do a drop cap. Drop cap is insert a drop cap. You go drop. And then I like the Algerian method where you change the font to Algerian, and then you gotta kind of put your columns in first and then your drop cap, or you're in trouble. If you want to insert several pictures, use a table. If I want to do a table, you insert a table to put in like pictures, and let's say you have text in the inside and you have 2 pictures on the outside. Text box put into one of these. What you do is you insert a text box, and there's one called a quote. I have a quote, and I'm going to do a quote. I put the text inside here, and I can drag this quote wherever I want to. This is a task. So if I make a title using just big fonts, I go in, I'm just going to make it big, okay? And then I'm going to center it. If you're going to do this and you're going to do it this way, all you do is you put a border around it. And this one, you will put the border all the way around it and change the colors or whatever, and then say okay, and it goes around the outside. So that's the second way to put it in.